Blessings and welcome to the Ascension Alchemists podcast. Welcoming you to another amazing solo episode as I get to share this beautiful space with you, incredible community, the Ascension Alchemist community, all of us that are here doing our part with aligning with mighty God presence and embodying that eternal light within us so we can walk it, embody it in the body, living it, being it, sharing it, bringing the blessings from this heavenly consciousness into our everyday human experience. And wow, 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 what a human journey experience it is. So welcome to my solo episode. I'm so excited to be with you here today and have a heart to heart. Have a real heart-to-heart with you today on this episode, because there's certainly a lot going on in my field of awareness that I just want to openly share with you. So let me start with this. Today, for those of you that got to see my Sunday YouTube video that is dedicated to the celebration frequency that I started last week. As you've been following the last couple of episodes, Michael and I entered 2026, and the entire 2026 is on the consciousness and the frequency of celebration. What is truly celebration? Can we allow celebration? Can we be celebration? Can we welcome more celebration into our lives? Can we see life through the lens of celebration? Can we be with it more in every part of our life? And what's it like when we're saying yes to celebration and meeting the human life density along the way? So I got a few of those to share with you, certainly, that took place this week, while I did everything humanly possible to remain in celebration and being stretched. This weekend I got stretched, so I'll speak to that as well. So let me begin with today's message on celebration. I did communicate how celebration is a living frequency, and it is not an emotion. And that is on my YouTube channel on Reverend HoniB, in which you can go deep into that and just listen to it. It's really designed to uplift you and support you to allow more of the celebration as a truth of who you are, who I am, who we are in this space. So this weekend, I did face my human self, naturally, faced a couple of challenges. And these couple of challenges has to do with some scammers that have been attempting to get into some areas that is personal for me. And also it just happened to be with my brother, and it was with my brother a couple of weeks ago, and then my mother and me. So it was so interesting to be able to this week, all week, I've been on the phone several hours with different customer representatives and walking through what would be the solution, what to do, how did this come about. And what's so interesting is I really invited God Almighty presence with the celebration frequency into each area. And I found myself Monday all the way through Friday be very upbeat in my human self, having these conversations with the different representative back and forth, being on hold for hours, and witnessing how several of the things that were very important to me had to be on hold, yet kind of like piling up towards the end of the week, and finding this beautiful conviction inside of me to remain in greater faith and knowing God Almighty is handling these battles. I don't have to do it myself, and finding that freedom in it while I was facing these challenges. And on Friday, it ended up being approximately 6 hours. So I was not able to complete the newsletter. I was not able to, a few things that I had to do in Excel, I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to take care of the things that were for earlier in the week that I was on the phone. Towards the end of the week, this took literally 6 hours from 11 a.m. until about 5:45 p.m. I was on the phone, literally on the phone, charging my battery from one person to another department. And I was very, very calm. There was just one individual that I came across, and it was so interesting. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, where you have been where you have been the one that has been surprised and shocked with these fraud charges coming in. That is not you, or somebody's trying to run things, and you're just trying to figure out what on earth is going on. And so you're calling to have some kind of understanding, yet a representative on the call, everybody else is really nice, and the representative on the call happens to be maybe not having a good day. Then they begin to actually treat you like you are the criminal. You've you have committed the crime. It was the weirdest thing. There was the supervisor that got on the phone, and he probably could not have had a good day, I would say. And I found that he found himself in this position on the conversation with me, and I was so loving. I was so kind. I could tell like his level of frustration. And at one point, as we began, I said to him, I paused and I said, "Excuse me, may I have a question?" And he said, "Yes," very rough. I said, "Are you okay? Do you need me to pray for you?" And he was like, "What? No, ma'am, no, I'm on faith. I said, okay, I just want to make sure. I'm just calling because please recognize this is on my end experience. I'm just calling to try to find a solution, a resolution. I did not commit this crime. Do you realize this?" He's like, "No, I know. He was so frustrated on the phone. And I found myself being even nicer to this guy. And somehow in the inside of me, I wonder, wow, maybe God Almighty has put this guy on the phone with me. Maybe he's had a bad day. And here I am, a reverend. So I'm a woman of God, and here's my opportunity to show him mercy, where he's clearly coming from a very rude, impatient, and certainly farthest thing from kind and loving. So I said, "Do you want me to pray for you?" He's like, No, I don't need your prayer. I just need the solution. I said, "I understand. I'm calling for this resolution as well." So I found myself getting even softer. I said, "Listen, I'm just, my work is with God. I don't understand the technicality behind this. And, I like to take personal responsibility on an area because it's happened for me. So I understand." So the kinder I was, I found him more flustered, yet something started happening. From a place where he was so resistant, at the end, he's like, Ma'am, I just need this to be resolved." I said, "As I want this to be resolved." He's like, "You know what? Let me have you transfer it back to the customer service. Just have them help you out." I said, "Okay, sure." It was so interesting. And when I got transferred back to the customer service. This is like 4 hours into this from different people. I found the nicest supervisor. So her and I talk, and she said, you know what, Reverend Honeyboy, I want to try to find the best way to help you, because I understand you're already dealing with this and you're dealing with so many different parts. Like, you had no idea. I said, I had no clue. I'm literally reaching out for help. So the moral of the story is these scammer things, it's as AI has taken place, as more are, trying to get through our banks and emails and what have you, it seems like this is part of our society. This is part of our journey. This is part of the human experience. The kinder we can be, the more loving we can be as we're facing them. And also there's this, it seems like there's this energy that wants to be this false representation, right? And we have the opportunity to say no, literally no. Somebody's trying to come in to represent us and take sort of like advantage. But if we believe we're being a victim to it, then it will continue. I never felt I'm being a victim to it. The way I perceived it, I said, okay, there is this faulty experience that is attempting to come into my field, especially as Michael and I are starting this 2026. We're in this celebration journey. I'm putting all these videos out. Everything is about celebration, the celebration of God Almighty in our lives and what we are allowing. So naturally, there's this experience that is coming in to see whether I am choosing to be victimized by it, identified in a certain way, be crumbled by it, or take the authority and ownership. It's very much what I'm teaching in my woman's masterclass in the Empowerment Woman of God Almighty. For those of you who were part of that 8 weeks with the 8 frequency keys that I'm teaching, it's all about to be so much in the authority and ownership of who you are, who God Almighty says you are. So when you are meeting these frequencies or these experiences such as this, like scammers, you do not go into agreement with them. You stand in agreement with God Almighty. Claim the truth of who you are. And that's where I stayed. It was inconvenient for sure. It was disruptive. Yes. It took a lot more time. Yes. I didn't get frustrated. I didn't show any of that. I did not lose hope. I did not fall to anything. I stood and I remained. I stayed on the phone, continue to be kind, continue to be loving, and continue to invite God Almighty into that space. And I kept saying, God Almighty, this isn't my battle. This is your battle. I'm going to let you handle this. You are far greater, better than any scammer trying to come in. They have no authority. I am the living property of God Almighty. They have no authority. And I found myself, as I kept saying these, not trying to convince myself, yet expressing the authority that I'm standing in and standing on and standing with. It was this beautiful, almost like a test, so it can become a living testament. Can this be something that I can meet from this frequency of celebration while it's still happening? And to be able to stretch myself so I can say, yes, I can. I have the capability. because God Almighty is being embodied in me. See, this whole Ascension Alchemist, it's all about the embodiment of mighty God presence, that eternal light within. As we embody more of it in, we are going to have the human experience, right? The human experience that goes through many of its experiences, and some of it are challenging, and some of it are, these sort of like debris of separation that I call, or difficulties. And can we bring this light to it? Can we bring the celebration to it? Can we bring the love to it? Can we really allow it to dismantle some of these areas that we perhaps have experienced in the past, or we're giving meaning and attention to it? This is also something much deeper than Michael and I go into in our mastery class with the belief, thought, emotion, self-mastery, which I highly, 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 highly recommend. That's part of our course series. It's a 14 module truly mastery, which 100% anybody that's on the ascension journey, anybody that wants to embody, this is the most incredible way. This is what Michael and I did to be so strong in our nervous system, in our emotional regulation, being able to face things and be so deeply anchored in God Almighty. This is the result of this week, right? So I'm literally sharing what I have had to stretch into myself, and then teach from there, and from there make it available like a course series. So when something like this took place this week, I'm applying what I have moved into, that has become the living testament, which is the teachings, and which I'm sharing with others. And it is so important, because as you meet these parts, what happens is, on the inside, you become more confident, you become more secure, you become more powerful, not from an ego place, because it's all part of God Almighty inside, that from the inside is given the ability to stand in more authority and ownership. Again, this goes back to what I taught my woman empowerment class, which is coming up again, not this coming week, at the end of the week on Friday, which I may be switching it to next Monday, the 19th. It's all about ownership, and ownership is not being a bitchy boss. It is not being a sort of like a moody CEO. It's none of that. It's to truly live in embodiment and be gracious, be a lady, meet it with unwavering and unshakable faith, standing in that trust and elegance, and meeting opposition with compassion and deeper understanding. So this is what I'm teaching, this is what I'm sharing, and this is what I'm embodying, which on the inside feels much, much better than those times that I would lose my bearing, like as if rug was pulled under me, which I'm sure so many of you also, like you go to your account, suddenly there are all these charges. I'm not talking about credit card either. And then your, bank account is withdrawing all these things, and it's your bank is going into negative, because it's like it's tapped into all kinds of things, like craziness. So that's what I'm speaking of. It can be really unsettling, yet I just knew all of it is going to work out. It's no problem. The only part I have is to be very patient, to speak through all these different customer service people, of like at least 12 different people, and back and forth and back and forth. And for a little while, all these other things that I was so excited about to handle this week, such as sending my newsletter out for tomorrow, for the woman, all these things, they kind of just got put on hold. And no problem, I'll be able to handle them all this week. No problem. So this is part of it, that flexibility, the elegance when it comes in. That elegance is that grace that's coming from God Almighty. This is one part of the quality of heaven that gets to come in. This is the gift of embodiment. And yet it was challenging. I'm not going to tell you it wasn't. Yet I did not handle it with frustration. I didn't handle it with difficulty. The meaning to it was very different. And I got to address what took place, not from a place that I'm victimized, yet I'm victorious. It is happening for me because God Almighty is stretching me for something far greater, bigger than I'm about to get into, that I'm about to walk into. So God Almighty wants to see how I'm going to handle this. So this is my attitude. It is a celebration attitude. And I'm sharing this because this possibly is a possibility for you. If you come across this, because it is truly inconvenient. I'm not going to tell you it is not, yet how we meet any life situation is up to us. We can handle it in some areas better, some areas not so much. On the other side of it, I will be honest as well, because there's no way I would not be not honest with you. When it came to the scammer with my mother, I did not handle it as gracefully. I've been very gracious. Then no, I did not. I found myself getting very frustrated because she was not believing that it was a scam. And I couldn't get through to her either. And so I had to really then become aware, okay, here we go. Here's the area that's it's the opportunity for me to grow into. What's it like when it's so clear to me, but it's not clear into another one? The other one's trying to protect it, yet they're completely being taken advantage of. And here I am, I want to protect her, but I can't. So that was the part of me that I had to sit with God Almighty and journal and say, okay, I need to release this because she's just not receptive, and I have to allow her to have her experience. So quite an interesting week, I have to say. On the other side, on the other note of it, this week was so phenomenal because what is taking place with the origin of the country that I was born in, which is Iran, there is this revolution taking place. And I see revolution from this sense of the resurrection of the light. That light in the heart of people has become so bright, so luminous. It's like that inner Christ in them has ignited, and as an entire society, and so many of them are young. I remember years and years ago, Lee Carroll, it was 12 years ago, I was at the Mastery Conference in LA. I was also invited to the VIP lunch there, and Lee Carroll spoke about the starseeds that were incarnated as souls in Iran, that they will be part of the revolution and change in the Middle East. This was 12 years ago. And so here, there's been several attempts for this to take place. And then the last 10 days, this is taking place in Iran. Venezuela took place now. It's also Iran. There's this resurrection and the life, resurrection and the light in humanity that they are claiming. They don't want it to be under oppression and suppression and depression, which is the dark. They are choosing to stand with the light. And what's so beautiful globally through the internet, through social media, there's so many people who are non-incarnate in the Iranian country, Iranian culture, yet they're standing in agreement of this light, in the celebration of that. So what is happening, it's like a squeeze of this dark that has to be seen, be brought up, so then individuals choose light, truly stand by that. And there's such an incredible celebration of that. And what's even more interesting is the ancient civilization of Iran, which was Persia. It was always Zoroastrian. Zoroastrians were always the culture that celebrated light, celebrated the sun, celebrated that luminosity and the light. And the three magi kings that gave the announcement of the birth of Christ came from Iran. They were the Zoroastrian kings that traveled to be able, the Magi's actually, that traveled to announce the birth of the Messiah. So it's so beautiful. It's like, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. It's like the return of that luminosity and the light that is part of the ancient Iranian culture. It's all resurrecting. And there is also, what's so interesting, I don't know if some of you know this, the largest amount of Iranians that have converted to Christianity is never been like this. It's so interesting. So on that region, there's just a whole lot of this expression of the luminosity coming forward. And of course, that comes with the price as well. The price of the civilized individuals, the people who are being also hurt, some of the souls that are being harmed along the way. Those of you who are part of this community have more of this consciousness that recognizes many souls courageously enter this plane of reality to take part in bringing forth a level of consciousness, a level of resurrection, a level of ascension. And it's so heroic, that part that they're taking part. So this week has been a lot around that, and I've been in a lot of prayers around this. And certainly I see it from a different lens, yet I have a lot of compassion for my family and friends who are in this space to really want the turnover to take place, the least damage. And of course, my heart sings to be able to take my sons to Iran, to take Michael there. How incredible, how glorious, how fabulous that would be, to show the heart of that country and how much it's contributed to the world for eons and eons, that the last 40 some years has been so suppressed. Even ancient Persia has been taken out of the books. It's just hysterical. But those of you know, you know. So the last 40 years, this suppression of the fanatic Islamic country that has suppressed its people is not who the Iranian people are. And for those who are educated, they know that. So I've had a lot of compassion with that, and there's been this celebration of the heritage that I incarnated into. I'm half Persian, half Kurdish, and there's this beauty around that as well at the same time. And also embracing what is to come, however will be. God Almighty has ordained the way. We are all participants of what we get to see, what we get to be a witness to, and what a glorious essence that is. And I'm going to share a couple of things right now in Farsi from my heart. هموطن عزیز، این جشن نور هستش و امیدوارم که همه بتونیم با قلبمون هماهنگی بکنیم و اجازه بدیم اون نور الهی دید بازتر داشته باشه برای تمام ماها که آرزوی جشن ایران رو داریم، آزادی ایران داریم و میدونیم هموطنها همیشه باید آزاد باشن و آزادی اصیل از خدا هستش، هیچ وقت از بیرون نمیتونه بیاد. So thank you so much for this opportunity for me to share in Farsi, and I celebrate all of us. I celebrate you, beautiful community, for your part in which you're allowing your celebration as a soul that has chosen to be in a body, and for the day that you get to experience, and for it to choose the best, the highest, and allow it to come about. This is a celebration, and I celebrate you so deeply, and I celebrate those of you who are taking our belief, emotion, thoughts of mastery course. It is online. You can sign up for it at ascensionalchemists.com. When you go to the academy, you see the courses there. And speaking of celebration, one more thing. I'm so excited for those of you who are part of our Ascension Alchemy Association. Oh my goodness, this Tuesday we start the prayer circle. I'm so excited at 8 p.m. You are in for a treat. For those of you who have not learned to be in answered prayer frequency, I am so excited to demonstrate what that's like. So you will experience a whole different way of praying when you get to experience it. And of course, for those of you who are not part of our community, you're always welcome to join, to be part of our community, to walk in this alignment with us, to be stronger in it, to live from unshakable faith and trust, because everything is about that, and there's nothing like to stand in a community in agreement with that. So these are the things that I wanted to share this week, and I thank each of you for being here. And I'm always excited to read your reviews, your comments. Remember, whenever you do that, you enter our monthly draw, which is so exciting. All you got to do is just take a little screenshot of the comment you made, your takeaway, send it to us, email it to us. You enter the monthly draw, because we do send the gift. We pick a winner and we send you $100 gift card. I love that, just to say thank you. We love winners. Again, everything is about celebration. So celebration to you this week. Everything you do, may it be the best, the greatest. Make it the best, because you can. Allow your best, because God Almighty created you in your best. And I look forward in seeing you on the next solo episode. And Michael and I's episode comes out later this week. Much love, and have a glorious rest of your week.